When someone says, I love you, it means one of four things. I'm physically attracted to you. You're my best friend. I'll protect you. Or I'm committed to you, to your good, whether or not you love me back. I'm Dr. Dad, and I love you. But what does that mean? Let's figure this out together. So, C.S. Lewis, a professor at the Cambridge University and author of more than 30 books, including things that you've heard like the Screw Tape Letters, Mere Christianity, the Chronicles of Narnia, he wrote a book called The Four Loves. And it's a theological and psychological exploration of human love. And it argues that while there are these natural loves that are good gifts from God, they inevitably become destructive or idolatrous, even if they're not anchored and ordered by divine love. Well, what are these four loves that he's talking about? And these four loves are actually found in the Bible too. And so sometimes we hear of other languages that have words that better describe things. And in this case, the ancient Greek uses four different words to describe four different aspects of love. They are Eros, which means I'm physically attracted to you. It's where we get our English word erotic. There's Philos, which is like you're my best friend. It's like Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, right? Storge, which is the protective love. It's like the love that a mother has for her newborn baby. And then finally, agape, which means I'm committed to your good, whether or not you love me back. This is a unique love that we get from God. So let's understand each. But first, if you're liking this video, can you click the thumbs up button? It really helps, and I appreciate it. So to really understand what love is, let's consider each of these four types. Eros, the romantic, passionate love. Philos, the deep friendship love. Storge, the familial love. And agape, this covenantal commitment, fidelity love. First, Eros. That's the passionate, romantic love. This type of love is passionate. It's physical. It's the love that desires union and delights in the physical and emotional beauty of someone. It's often actually looked with suspicion because it can be experienced without any of the other loves being present. This is what drives hookups, for example, and maybe those mistakes that we make, and which later we wish that we could take back. But when pursued with commitment, and the commitment of marriage, the Bible considers this special and beautiful aspect of love. In fact, there's an entire book of the Bible written about it. It's called the Song of Solomon, or maybe in your Bible, it's the Song of Songs. Same thing. Sometimes they just title them differently. The Song of Solomon is dedicated to the beauty and longing and the physical passion of Eros between a husband and a wife, and it doesn't spiritualize this concept of love. It addresses that physical desire head on, and it actually sanctifies it within the bounds of marriage. The Apostle Paul even elevates this marital love in Ephesians 5 by intertwining Eros with agape, which is the one that we're going to be talking about in a minute, where husbands are commanded to love agape their wives. That's the sacrificial commitment love. The husbands are commanded to agape love their wives as Christ loved the church, giving himself up for her. Here, that self-sacrificing covenantal love becomes the protective vessel within this passionate, romantic love safely flourishes. And of course, we're talking about marriage with that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's stick around to the end. You can hear about agape love, but Eros. Eros love is usually the starting point between a boy and a girl. And this is because it is only really requires some sort of physical attraction and a little flame, and that's what gets this thing going. So, girls, if when your boyfriend tells you that he loves you, this is what he's talking about. You hear him say one of the next loves that we'll talk about, Philos, that deep friendship, or Storge, where there's that familial closeness. And you're hearing him say, I'm with you for the long haul. Or maybe even you hope you hear him saying agape, this committed love. I'm committed for your best. But what he's saying is Eros. I'm physically attracted to you. And if you'll give me the opportunity, I'd like to demonstrate that to you. So Eros is beautiful within marriage, but unfulfilling and crushing when it's given out casually or outside the commitment of agape love. Next, Phileo. So Phileo is the deep friendship and brotherly affection. Phileo, it shares this friendship. It's with shared values. The love is based on mutual connection and common pursuits. Phileo involves emotional warmth and companionship. It is the love between friends with shared goals and values. Jesus actually explicitly uses this term to elevate his disciples from mere servants to his intimate friends. In 1 John 15, verse 15, he says, no longer do I call you servants, for the servant doesn't know what his master is doing, but now I've called you friends. And that's that word here, philos. For all that I have heard from my Father, I've made known to you. And so this is that special friendship relationship that Jesus had with his disciples. So again, girls, when you tell your best friends that you love them, this is what you're expressing, that friendship, that warmness. Guys, when you tell your teammates that you love them, this is what you're talking about. You're like, we're in this together. We're walking side by side through this battle. And unlike passion or attraction, this friendship love is highly selective. It's born out of a shared vision and goals and interests. This form of love is highly valuable because it's largely free of the demands of romance, Eros, and the demands of the family duties, the Storge, which is what we'll talk about next. And let's pause here for a second too. And if you're finding value in this, please click on the subscribe so we can stay connected. Okay, Storge. This is the third type of love. This is that familial affection, this natural empathy, and I've referred to it a couple times already. Interestingly, the name Philadelphia that we talked about already is two Greek words, philos, love, and delphis, which is brother, to literally mean put together the city of brotherly love. The Bible expresses this same type of thing in Romans chapter 12, verse 10, but it puts together two other words, philos, and then this love that we're talking about right now, Storge, to create that meeting. And we see that in Romans 12, verse 10, which says, love one another with brotherly affection, outdo one another in showing honor. And so that first part, love one another with brotherly affection, that's these two words, philos and storgas, put together. So Storge represents that natural empathetic bond inherent in family structures, particularly the protective affection between parents and children. It's the love of belonging. Isaiah actually uses this image, the imagery of Storge, to illustrate God's tender care for his people in Isaiah chapter 49, verse 15, which says, can a woman forget her nursing child, that she would have no compassion for the son of her womb? Yet even these may forget, yet I will not forget you, says God to his people. And so that closeness of love is what Isaiah is talking about. The Apostle Paul also talks about this similarly in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. He adopts this framework when he's describing this pastoral care for the Thessalonian church that he has, comparing his gentle, protective love for them as a nursing mother caring for her own children. So that is the love characterized by this nurturing, provision, and instinctual protection. So Storge is this affectionate love. It's humble, it's unassuming, it grows from familiarity and kind of like the bond between parents and children, or the comfort of old friends. So again, I'm going to use the same example again. Girls, when he tells you that he loves you, you're hearing Storge. He's going to be here for me. He's going to protect me. He loves me. What he's saying is Eros. I think you're hot, and I'd like to move this to relationship to consumption, if you know what I mean. So he's not saying what you're hearing. And that's why girls will be tempted to go deeper physically to get that affection and protection they're longing for. And guys will voice this shallow affection and convince you that they love you in order to go deeper physically. Let's talk about agape. Agape is the committed, self-giving love. This is the highest form of love. It's volitional. It's self-giving. It's covenant-keeping. It is the love that acts for the ultimate good of the other person, regardless of whether or not they deserve it, and regardless of whether or not they love you back. It's the love that it's the love that God demonstrates towards us, and the love that Christians are commanded to have for one another and for our enemies. You're probably familiar, or maybe you've heard before John 3:16, that God so loved the world that he gave his only son. That that love there, that's this agape love. Also in Romans 5:8, but God showed his love, this is agape, God showed his love for us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And then also in Lamentations in the Old Testament, chapter 3, verse 22, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. That is this committed, dedicated agape love. It's a love that pursues and redeems and keeps commitments. In fact, only agape love can save the other three from becoming selfish. Agape love gives without expecting in return, loves the unlovable, and remains steady even when natural affections or romance fades. So, putting it all together, a common error is made to think of these loves as a hierarchy, where agape is good, and then the others are lesser or maybe even dangerous. The Bible doesn't demand that we eradicate Eros or Phileo or Storge in favor of this kind of sterile agape. Rather, agape is meant to govern or purify or sustain those other loves. Let me give you an example for each one. When agape governs Eros, the passionate love, passion is protected from devolving into lust, exploitation, or the commodification of human beings. It remains a self-giving union rather than a self-serving consumption. What about Phileo? When agape governs Phileo, friendship remains loyal even when it's costly, preventing us from abandoning our friends when they slip up or come across hard times. When agape governs Storge, that the familial affection can really sometimes pursue good feelings instead of good character. And agape with Storge allows parents, in this example, to love their children enough to discipline them to the point and point them to Christ. So our natural loves, affection, friendship, romance, are not inherently bad, but they are incomplete. If left on their own devices, they eventually demand what only God can give, turning us really into possessiveness or prideful or even to despair. True flourishing requires that agape governs and disciplines our natural loves so that we love others rightly, seeing them as fellow creatures of God, made in God's image, rather than idols or tools for our own selfish fulfillment.